Hey everybody, this is nothing really serious. I'm just doing a little bit of a hardware test, so to speak. I've been having some pretty terrible issues with frame rate on some more advanced games when trying to record, and it just occurred to me that seeing as the temp files for both Audacity and for Open Broadcaster were kind of saving to my secondary hard drive, which was one of those 7200 RPM spin ones, that maybe I wasn't getting the best out of it. So I remember that I had an old 160 gig solid state drive just laying around, picking up dust, so to speak, and I thought, hey, if hard disk space actually, not just space, but if hard disk speed factors into the recording, then let me try it out. So I just installed myself my secondary hard disk as my recording one. So it's just a second solid state drive with 160 gigs, more than enough to do my average recording on. And I'm just blasting at the full 60 FPS here. So I'm doing it the same for Audacity. So let's just do a short little run here, perhaps long enough to get what's considered one of the best strength weapons in the game, which is the Demon's Great Axe. So I'm gonna start off rolling as a bandit because strength is necessary for this, and this is gonna be my Balmung character. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be doing a whole run with this guy, but it's at least something to use to try out since I was in the mood, and once I get on a testing hardware phase, it's pretty hard to stop me. So, let's just see if I can make myself a Balmung here. Wild with dark brown hair. And let me just customize the facial features a bit. Maturity is going to be rather mature. Not that it makes a whole hell of a lot of difference with the Dark Souls character creation, but at the same time, I want to just see if I can make him look like, no, maybe not quite that gruff-faced. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm gonna go with that. So, yeah, this is just a quickie to see if I can get myself into having the Demon's Great Axe. And of course, for anybody starting the game, who wants to roll a strength weapon, then, this is kind of the path that I would take to do it. So we're just going to test the performance out a little bit. Pretty good way to test the performance is to spin around the room and see how fast it responds. And it's looking pretty good to me there. So we're just going to try and run through some very busy areas. And of course I'll be making note of when things seem to be getting a little bit janky. So far it actually seems to be performing pretty well and better than I have in previous attempts to record Dark Souls, since I changed up my settings a bit, because I'm doing a much higher frame rate now for the recording, so I can manage to get a good 60 FPS. So let's see if this one's quality will be any better than the last one. I tried to do a recording session today earlier with my buddy Alex from overseas, and it just turned out piss poor. The frame rate was ridiculously bad. I was dying to shit that I shouldn't have died to, and it was just a mess. Actually, the video file ended up getting completely and totally buggerly corrupted. So, better to let such things drop than to let them be aired. Let's just go ahead and press on. Obviously, we're going to be skipping the Asylum Demon, because that's what you do unless you're trying to get the Demon's Great Hammer. And I did try to get the Demon's Great Hammer on the earlier run-through that I recorded. I got it, but it just, again, the frame rate was so horrible, and we were having such a bad time that we decided, screw it, let's end the recording. And just the fact that the entire video was corrupted and unusable was just the icing on the cake. So, we're going to be testing out a few high latency areas in here. New Londo seemed to be one of them, and also when I was dicking around with the hollows in the parish. So let's see if this one comes out any better. Like I said, I have a 20,000 bitrate set on this, as high settings as I can possibly manage to get the best performance out of a video, and so far my frame rate does not seem to be suffering to the point that it's unplayable. So, alright, just kind of playing like I normally would. I tested out this run the other night, and it seemed to work out pretty good for me, so I just want to get that Demon's Great Hammer, get the best strength weapon in the game, so to speak. It's got an S scaling with strength, which is, well, yeah, it starts out with an A scaling, but obviously when you get it up to 14, then it becomes an S. And so it's just one of those things where I haven't actually tried a weapon like that before. I normally go with the Zweihander, but I wanted to see about just flattening my enemies as much as possible. And of course, this is piddly shit right here, this chicken shit run through the asylum. Whoop! Seem to be getting just a little bit of a lag there, but not enough so that I'm not able to play it. We'll see what happens when I get to New Londo. Go Desidornail. Will you drop a longsword for me? Will you drop a longsword? No, just a dinky little Holler Soldier helm. Alright, well let me drop those. I had a little bit of choppiness there. I'm thinking I might have to end up just biting the bullet and getting a new motherboard and processor. Simply because the one I'm using, it's an Intel i7-920 processor. This was the hot shit about 4 or 5 years ago, but now it just doesn't cut it. So, I'm eyeballing some AMD hardware, one of the FM2 Plus processors, with a decent motherboard that supports PCI Express 3. And I saw a pretty decent combo on Newegg for, just over $200, probably be up to about $250 once we add on the cost of the case fan, or rather the CPU fan. But it's a good place to start from because the video cards that are out there, the one I've got my eye on right now is the GTX 970. That one's at least $300, and I have to wait for a better time to buy that. Plus, you just want to have a motherboard that works for you, So, I'm pretty sure that upping the CPU on this rig here with a better motherboard, this old Gigabyte X58 that I'm running is kind of chicken shit as well. It's pretty bad with the drivers. And I may even have to consider reformatting my system simply because, I dicked around with driver programs and got a little bit of malware in the process, and so, I just want something with a little bit better driver support. And I'm thinking that Asus has a little bit better of a track record, is a little bit more acclaimed of a board type, so, that's what I intend to go for. Obviously, funds are tight, that's just the way life goes, and I'm going to have to wait a couple paychecks before I can start to make that sort of investment. Again, I don't like to beg, but any donations are appreciated. I started monetizing my YouTube channel, even though I'm not allowing ads, so how does that even work? But as usual, there's a link to my Tumblr page, which has a donation button for PayPal. And, feel free to drop a couple bucks my way. I'm not going to hold any content ever, obviously, and I'm clearly not going to beg for this. I don't want to seem like I'm rude or a jackass or a dickhead or anything like that, like I'm just trying to troll for money. But, I put content out. I consider myself a content creator, and just having better hardware is going to make me better able to do it. Now, here's a bit of a dank that I found out actually during earlier recording, so I don't have to suicide there. Once those ghosts rise up, you quit the game, and when you come back, they all just go back to their spawn points, and so you can pretty much work your way out without getting into a clusterfuck. So, there could even be a chance of potentially a no-death run if this is done right. Knock wood, obviously. Just dropped my damn e-cigarette when I tried to knock some desk wood, so shit's gonna happen. That's just how life works. Alright, so to get the Demon's Great Axe, there's 2 ways to get it. Either it would drop from the Tauros Demon, which do not ever depend upon, or it would be something you could buy from Shiva of the East. So obviously you gotta get in good with the Cat Covenant there to get Shiva of the East to even appear. So first order of business is to get together 20,000 souls so I can buy the Crest of Artorias and get into the Darkroot Garden. So, one of the things I'm going to be going for, definitely, is the Grass Crest Shield. I normally use these great big 100 defense shields, but the stamina regen is really going to help out. And the Grass Crest Shield is pretty much what's considered, like, the pro shield user. So, not for using it as a shield, even though it's pretty good with 95% damage reduction. It still has a slight disadvantage when you're trying to use it for defense over the 100s, but you're not wearing it for the defense purposes, you're wearing it because of the stamina regen. And when you're rolling a strength character with a big, heavy, slow weapon, you really have to, give up the whole dodge rolling thoughts. You have to give yourself some heavy armor, because these slow-swinging weapons, if you keep getting knocked out of your attack because of poor poise, even with the wolf ring, then, it's going to suck for you. It's going to be a bad experience. So you're going to have to probably make peace with the idea of fat rolling, or at the very least mid-rolling. Of course, no matter what character I played, I would still be trying to get my endurance up to max, and Havel's Ring is there for when the armor gets just too heavy to bear. So here I'm taking the total back way into things. I'm just kind of having a laugh, so to speak, going for a giggle. And at the moment, I'm not really at the point where I'm worried about losing any souls here. So let's continue this journey. The next challenge is going to be the Black Knight, and it's actually not that hard to get him into a good, backstab off the cliff setup here. What I've actually found helps a lot is getting him on lower ground to you. If you can entice him down here, which, let me just go ahead and semi-suicide run for the Grass Crest shield just so that I have my eyes on the prize. Oops. That did not work out as I had planned, so... Yeah, what are you doing down there, bro? Come on. Come on. Come on. You having a laugh, mate? God. This is probably one of the better spots to try it, but it is such tight corners here. You really have to be careful with what you're trying to do. Ugh, you got me. Come on, asswipe. There we go. Haha, see you later. Okay, great. Grass Crest shield get. Still doing a pretty good roll. Let me go ahead and rest up here. I don't want to lose any experience if I can help it, and I probably shouldn't have spent those souls earlier on, but at the same time, you gotta just be careful with places that are fairly certain death. And of course you can't use the Demon's Great Axe until you have a bare minimum of 31 strength, just even to two-hand it. So, I'm gonna have to pump some points into that, but first things first, gotta get my 20k. Once you get your 20,000, then you can pretty easily exploit the hell out of the Darkroot Garden bug, where you can get the enemies to jump off a cliff and just stack the hell out of that shit, It would be even better if I had the Silver Serpent Ring, but at this early stage I'm not really going for that. I'm just trying to get my weapon, y'all. My weapon. Really, the frame rate seems to be holding up pretty good here. I am rather impressed and surprised and happy that I was able to find a cheap hardware solution to maybe extend my recording setup just a little bit longer. Solid-state drives really help in a lot of ways. They're great for obviously games that you're trying to load stuff from, but also remember, in situations where you have heavy caching going on, that your performance depends upon your hard drive's ability to cache, then it's honestly good to have a solid-state drive or two. And they're getting cheaper. They are getting a lot cheaper. I would consider that solid-state drives are getting to a point where they're starting to be affordable. And so with the 250 gig as my primary system drive, and then running a 160 as my cache drive for Audacity and Open Broadcaster, then I'm probably going to do okay. Obviously, a processor would be great. A little bit more RAM would be great. But I'm on a budget, and I gotta go with the hardware that I have on hand. I should probably be starting the two-hand stuff here. Not that I can't stagger fuck these guys. Ooh, blooming purple moss. That's excellent at this stage of the game. Alright, and I'm thinking I might just go ahead and, if I go further with this run, because again, this is just me trying to get to where I have the the axe and then maybe calling it quits, I think would just be a better idea if I were to try and do it in the order that the game intended, which is not taking the back door to Blighttown, not doing all that other stupid shit. Obviously, I'll take the back door to Blighttown just to get my hands on the Firekeeper soul, but after that I'd just be heading right back up, you know, just right back up to the bonfire and doing it as I can. The Master Key makes this all possible, folks. If I was doing a Great Hammer run, I would have to be doing it without doing the Master Key, and that can cause some serious problems for any person's dank run, so you just gotta be ginger about that sort of thing. It'd probably be a good idea if I tried to take on Havel at some point, but right now I'm just not strong enough for that. You know, I just don't have... I can do it, but it would just be a lot of backstabbing and just it would be a pain in the ass. So I'm just kind of going for a couple early game pick-me-ups here to try and help boost me along towards getting that coveted thing. And again, I'm putting myself through a few frame rate heavy areas to try and see how the recording goes. Obviously the goal would be to have a perfect 60 frames per second video that I can upload to YouTube. But, you know, I'm not going to sweat it if I only manage around 30 frames per second. As long as I'm able to safely play it, then I should be okay. There we go. Tree dead. God, this unupgraded axe is gonna kill me. It's just pretty pathetic. You, don't act like you're a threat. Twat. What? No green blossom? That sucks. So I tried to install the Dark Souls hyper-aggressive mod, but apparently you have to unpatch Dark Souls several times and use Cheat Engine to get in, which is really a super suspicious thing for Windows to have to deal with. I mean, it's legit, but it really makes your antivirus software go haywire because it's like, whoa, you're interrupting the normal operation of a code. Holy crap. And it'll just get in your way. It'll be a nightmare. So for right now, I'll just not dick around with Cheat Engine as much as possible. Hopefully somebody will make a decent mod, or at least upgrade the hyper-aggressive mod to allow me to get that going without having to use the Cheat Engine or some other weird, suspicious-ass software. Die, Shrubinson. I love that Nick called it Shrubinson when he was doing his hyper-aggressive mode. That's you know, yet another set of folks that I really admire for the type of videos that they put out, and they work very closely with Franz, the German spy, as well as Eli, Plague of Gripes. That you know, they do a lot of streaming together, and it's fun, you know, just recording the experience of playing a game with your friends watching or participating. You know, it's fun to see other people having fun with something that you yourself enjoy doing. So, alright, I'm going to go ahead and head back down to this other bonfire here. I might as well take on Havel. Hopefully I'll be able to survive him two-handed. It's not impossible, it's just time-consuming. 20,000 souls, it's a long road. I should have gone for the Elite Knight set while I was there, but, for right now I just want to try and survive, that's all. I should probably put on the leather armor just for right now. Simply because, number one, I want to cover up my fucking jerky raisin back there. But also, it's just a little bit better defense as far as just physical defense, and I can still fast roll in it. So that's pretty cool. And, you know, the Grass Crest shield looks pretty cool on the back, too. So, just getting back to my save point, y'all. Still holding up pretty well. You know, I'm impressed that that's making that much of a difference. You know, the caching, really it's something that people take for granted. The caching is there because memory runs out, that's just simply how it goes. And Dark Souls recording, you just get a gigantic file. I mean, an hour of play is about 10 gigs. So that's a lot of space being taken up by a file, and if your hard disk is running slow because it's recording to it at the same time, then you're going to have a bad time. Go ahead and grab me a soul up here. Get myself a soul item. I'm gonna try and... I'm going to pretty much take the approach from the back entrances and such. Just go through the way down up, so to speak, and one benefit of doing that is you can completely avoid the dragon. Havel, what's up, buddy? You just waking up? There we go. Okay, 49 two-handed. Let's see how I do one-handed. Come on, buddy, do something. Okay, so 45. I have a feeling that there's some other extenuating circumstances affecting the damage that I'm doing, but that's fine. That's fine. I can dig it. This is actually a little bit more than I tend to get, just doing like the Astora straight sword, you know, not even plussed out. Ugh, 39. Let me see if I can chain backstab him. With the backstabbing on this guy, you can't just immediately do it as soon as he appears to be standing up. You gotta wait until he actually just barely begins to bring his weapons up to bear. Otherwise, you're gonna whiff the backstab, you're gonna just end up doing standard damage, and you're not gonna have a good time. Bam. That was a pretty pro dodge roll there. Oh, yes. No, I don't trust his recovery time on that. Bam. It's pretty random, it seems, what the damage is going to be with this guy. I don't know if it makes a difference if he's got the shield on his back or what, but you know what? We got this one, I think. I'm going to tentatively say that we've got Havel. Obviously, it would go a bit quicker if I had a decent stabbing. Oh, spoke too fucking soon. God damn it. Oh well, that shit happens. You know what? You are going to die, but there goes my death free run. Honestly, you know, I think that's actually good enough for just this sit-down recording here. I'm testing out the difference in quality on recording and frame rate and such from having changed hardware a bit. So I think that's going to do for right now. Again, this is just a little side video, just a one-off to do some tech testing here. And so far I think it turned out good. But let me know. You know, see if you want me to do another Dark Souls run. I'm kind of getting inspired to do it again. Thanks for watching.